You're listening to Speak English with Chat.
On Chat English.
Welcome back to Chat English. If you are still translating English in your head before you speak, you are blocking your own fluency. Imagine it is Friday night. You are at a noisy bar with a group of friends. The music is loud, people are laughing, and suddenly someone turns to you and asks, "What did you think of the film?" You know the words, you understood the question, but you freeze, your heart pounds, you are buffering.
Oh, I have been there so many times. I used to construct these perfect sentences in my head, checking the grammar, finding the verb, but by the time I was ready to actually speak, the conversation had moved on without me.
That stops today. We are going to delete that middleman in your brain and wire your reactions to be instant.
You know, Alice, that feeling of buffering is probably the most frustrating part of learning a language. It is not that you do not know the answer, it is that the connection speed feels too slow.
Exactly. And most people think the solution is to learn more words. They think if I just study more vocabulary, I will be faster. But that is actually a myth. The problem isn't your database, it's your processor.
I like that analogy. So my brain is basically an old computer trying to run a brand new video game?
In a way, yes. When you translate in your head, you are doubling your cognitive load. Think about it. You hear the English input. Your brain sends it to your native language center. You formulate an answer in your native language. Then you send it to the translation center. Then you check the grammar rules. And finally, you send it to your mouth. That is 5 steps.
When it should just be one step: input, output.
Exactly. We call this the translation lag, and today we are going to fix it using a technique called the no-think method. But first, we need to talk about what is actually happening during that silence.
The awkward silence. The one where I'm smiling and nodding, but inside I am panicking.
Right, you are stalling. But here's the thing, Dan. Native speakers stall too. We just do it differently. When a learner stalls, they go silent. When a native speaker stalls, they make noise.
That is a really interesting distinction. So silence is the enemy?
Silence is the signal that tells the other person I am lost or I am done talking. If you can fill that silence with the right kind of noise, you buy yourself time to think without breaking the flow.
Okay, so before we even get to the no-think part, we need a way to buy time. Because sometimes I honestly just draw a blank.
Let's pause there because that is a great phrase. Draw a blank.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, unfortunately. To draw a blank means to completely forget something in the moment. Like when you see someone you know, but you cannot remember their name, you draw a blank.
Exactly. So imagine you are in that bar. Someone asks you a question. You draw a blank. Instead of sitting there in silence translating, you need a stall button.
A stall button. I like that. What does that look like verbally?
It's a set of automatic phrases that mean nothing but keep the connection alive. We call these fillers, but I prefer to call them safety nets.
Can you give us some examples? Because I usually just say,
Is okay, but it sounds unsure. Try these instead. If someone asks you a tough question, you can say, that is a good question.
That buys me about 2 seconds.
Exactly. 2 seconds is a lifetime for your brain. Or you can say, let me think about that for a second.
Let me think about that. It sounds confident. It sounds like I have a deep thought coming, even if I'm just trying to remember the word for umbrella.
Precisely. Another great one is honestly. You start the sentence with honestly and draw it out. Honestly, I haven't thought about it.
So the strategy here is to have these phrases ready to go, like bullets in a chamber. You don't have to construct them.
Right. They need to be automatic. If you have to translate your safety net, it's not a safety net.
Okay, so step 1 is stopping the silence. But step 2 must be stopping the translation itself. Because even if I buy time, I am still doing math in my head. I'm still trying to convert my native thoughts into English grammar.
And that is where we get into the no-think drills. But to do that, we have to look at how you listen. Dan, when you listen to someone speaking English, what are you focusing on?
Usually, I'm trying to catch every single word. I'm trying to visualize the sentence structure so I can understand the full meaning.
And that is why you are slow.
Ouch. Okay, tell me why.
Because you are listening like a transcriber, not a human. Human communication is 70% emotion and tone and only 30% words. If you focus on the words, you trigger the analytical part of your brain, the part that loves to translate. If you focus on the music, you trigger the instinctive part.
The music of the sentence. You mean the intonation?
Yes, let's try an experiment. I'm going to say a sentence in a gibberish language. I want you to tell me what the correct response is just based on the music. Ready?
I am ready.
Bala duba di?
Inquisitive rising tone?
The answer is yes or no. You ask me a question.
Exactly. You didn't know the words, but you knew the category of the answer. Now try this one.
Ugh, bada boopy doo.
Disgusted, falling tone. You are complaining. You are unhappy about something. So I should probably say, oh, that's too bad, or I know, right?
See, you didn't translate anything. You reacted to the emotion. This is called shadowing the emotion. To stop translating, you need to stop listening for grammar and start listening for the vibe.
That is actually really freeing, because sometimes I get stuck on one word I don't know and I miss the whole rest of the sentence.
Exactly. You get stuck on a detail and the train leaves the station. If you listen for the emotion, you can always respond, even if you didn't catch every specific noun or verb.
So how do we practice this? Because it is hard to break the habit of analyzing.
We use no-think drills. The rule is simple. You have to answer in under 1 second.
1 second? That is impossible.
It is impossible if you translate. It is easy if you react. We are going to try a few right now. I want our listeners to do this with us. I am going to ask a question. Do not think about the correct grammar. Do not look for the perfect word. Just make a sound.
Any sound?
A word, a noise, a sigh. Anything is better than silence. Ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Did you like the movie?
Loved it.
Was it expensive?
Totally.
Are you hungry?
Starving.
See, that was fast.
It was fast, but Alice, I noticed something. I didn't answer with full sentences. I didn't say, yes, I was starving. I just said starving.
And that brings us to the biggest secret of fluency. Native speakers speak in fragments. Textbooks teach you full sentences. Yes, I am very hungry. But in a bar, in a meeting, we say starving. Totally. Not really.
That is such a relief. Because constructing the full sentence, yes, I am very hungry, takes so much more mental energy.
It does. It adds to the cognitive load. By using fragments, you bypass the grammar center of your brain. You go straight from feeling to word.
So fragments are not lazy English.
No, they are natural English. In fact, answering in a full sentence often sounds robotic. If I ask, did you have a good weekend? And you say, yes, I did have a good weekend, you sound like a textbook. If you say, it was great, or just, yeah, amazing, you sound like a person.
Okay, I want to try another round of these drills. This time, let's make it a bit harder.
Okay, listeners, I want you to shout your answer out loud. Do not whisper. Shout it. Ready?
Ready.
Is this seat taken?
Nope.
Can I buy you a drink?
Sure.
What time is it?
No idea.
No idea. That is a perfect no-think response. You didn't look at your watch. You didn't calculate. You just reacted.
It feels like a reflex, like catching a ball.
That is exactly what conversation is. It is a game of catch. If you hold the ball to examine the stitching, the game stops. You have to throw it back.
I love that metaphor. But Alice, what happens when the questions get more complex? You know, not just yes or no questions. What if someone asks for my opinion? That is usually where I freeze.
That is the danger zone. What do you think about the new policy? Or how do you feel about the election? That is where the translation monster wakes up.
The translation monster, I can picture him. He's holding a dictionary and looking very disapproval.
To defeat him, you need what I call anchor phrases. These are sentence starters that are pre-built. You memorize the first 3 words, so you don't have to think about how to start.
Give us some examples.
If someone asks for an opinion, your anchor is, to be honest. You say that while your brain is still loading the rest of the answer.
To be honest. Okay, what else?
From my perspective, or the way I see it.
The way I see it. That is good. It buys time and it sets up the grammar for you.
Exactly. Once you say, the way I see it, your brain knows a sentence is coming. You don't have to choose the subject and verb from scratch. You are just filling in the blank.
It's like having a template.
Yes, and using these templates reduces the processing power you need. Remember, we are trying to save battery life here.
This is making so much sense. I realize now that when I speak my native language, I use these templates all the time. I don't build every sentence brick by brick. I use prefab walls.
Prefab walls. I love that vocabulary. Prefab, or prefabricated, means built in a factory beforehand. You want your English to be prefab.
So we have the stall button, we have shadowing the emotion, we have fragments, and we have anchor phrases. But there is one more thing that holds me back, Alice, and I think a lot of our listeners feel this too. It's the fear of being wrong.
The perfectionism trap.
Yeah, even if I know I should just say starving, there's a voice in my head that says, is that polite enough? Is that the right context? Maybe I should say I am quite hungry instead. And while I am debating that, silence.
That voice is the enemy of fluency. You have to understand that connection is more important than perfection.
Connection over perfection.
If you say starving and smile, we connect. If you say nothing because you are trying to find
Word for famished, we disconnect. People forgive grammar mistakes. They do not forgive awkward silences.
That is a hard truth, but it is true. I would rather talk to someone who makes mistakes but keeps the energy moving than someone who speaks perfect English but takes 5 minutes to answer.
Exactly. And speaking of keeping the energy moving, if you are finding these drills helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We release new conversation practice episodes every week, and subscribing is the best way to make sure you get your daily drilling in. It really helps us keep making these.
Yeah, and we have some really cool topics coming up on workplace English too, so you don't want to miss those.
Now, back to the bar scene. Let's put it all together. I want to role play a slightly longer interaction. Dan, you are the learner. I am the native speaker. Try to use everything we just talked about.
Okay, I am ready. No translating, just reacting.
So Dan, I haven't seen you in ages. What have you been up to?
Oh, you know, same old, same old.
Same old, same old. Great phrase. It means nothing has changed much.
Yeah, just working a lot. How about you?
I actually just got back from Italy.
No way! Italy? That sounds amazing.
It was incredible. The food was to die for.
I bet. Did you go to Rome?
Only for a few days, mostly Tuscany.
Nice. I have always wanted to go there.
Cut. That was perfect. Did you translate anything?
Not really. I just kind of rode the wave. When you said Italy, I just reacted with, no way. I didn't think about it.
And no way is a fragment. It is an emotional reaction. It kept the ball moving.
And then when you said Tuscany, I used a pre-built phrase. I have always wanted to go there. I didn't have to build that sentence. It was just ready.
Exactly. That is fluency. Fluency isn't knowing every word in the dictionary. Fluency is the ability to keep the ball in the air.
You know, Alice, another thing that happens when I try to translate is that I get stuck on false friends or idioms that don't translate literally. Like, if I try to translate a joke from my language to English, it usually lands flat.
Oh, absolutely. Humor is the hardest thing to translate. That is why you should never translate jokes. Just laugh at theirs.
That is good advice. Just laugh. But seriously, there is a phrase you used earlier that I want to come back to. You said, on the tip of my tongue.
Yes, that is a classic idiom.
On the tip of my tongue. It means I know the word, I can almost feel it, but I cannot say it.
We have all been there. It is a physical sensation. And when that happens, the worst thing you can do is stop and dig for it.
Because digging takes time, and time creates silence.
Right. If a word is on the tip of your tongue, abandon it. Let it go. Use a different word. Use a simpler word. Describe it.
So if I cannot remember the word for receipt, I shouldn't stand there snapping my fingers saying, wait, I know this.
No, just say the paper thing or the ticket.
The paper thing. It sounds stupid, but it works.
It works, and the cashier understands you, and you are out of the store in 10 seconds. If you stand there trying to remember receipt, you are wasting everyone's time.
So fluency is also about compromise. It is about accepting a good enough word instead of the perfect word.
Yes, perfection is the enemy of done. And in conversation, done means the message was delivered.
I feel like this entire episode is basically giving our listeners permission to be imperfect.
It is. Permission to be imperfect, permission to be messy, and permission to be fast. Because fast and messy is better than slow and perfect. Amen to that. Now, I want to address one more specific situation where the translation lag kills us: the telephone.
Oh, the telephone is the boss battle. There are no visual cues. You cannot see their face. The audio quality is bad. It is terrifying. And because you cannot see them, the silence feels twice as long. It does. If I go silent on the phone, they think the call dropped. Hello? Are you still there?
Exactly. So on the phone, your stall button needs to be even louder. You need to use verbal nods constantly. Mm-hmm. Right? I see. Okay.
These are like checking the connection. Ping, ping, ping.
Yes. If you are translating in your head while they are talking, you go silent.
and they stop talking because they think you aren't listening.
So I should force myself to make sounds even if I am struggling to understand?
Especially if you are struggling. If you say mm-hmm and right, you keep the flow going until you catch a word you know. Then you can jump in.
It is really about confidence, isn't it? It takes confidence to speak before you're ready.
It does. But here is the secret, Dan. You are never going to feel ready.
That is the truth.
You just have to jump. Your brain is an adaptive machine. If you force it to answer in 1 second, it will find a way. It might give you a simple word, it might give you a fragment, but it will give you something. If you give it 10 seconds, it will try to write a novel, and you will fail.
So we are training our brains to be sprinters, not marathon runners.
Exactly. Short bursts of energy, immediate reaction.
I want to try one more drill before we wrap up. A definition drill.
Okay, how does that work?
You say a fancy word. I have to react immediately with a simple word. No translating definitions, just the first simple concept that comes to mind.
I like it. Okay. Accommodation,
Hotel,
transportation,
bus,
beverage,
drink.
immediately.
Now, see, I didn't translate accommodation to my native language and then back to hotel. I just associated the big word with the small word.
That is a fantastic way to practice. Simplification is a superpower. If you can simplify complex thoughts into basic English instantly, you are fluent.
It stops the little interpreter from trying to be poetic.
Exactly. We don't need poetry. We need connection.
So Alice, let's recap the toolkit we built today, because we covered a lot of ground.
We did. First, we identified the enemy, the middleman, the little interpreter in your head that doubles your cognitive load.
We fired him. He is gone.
Then we installed the stall button, using fillers like honestly and let me think to buy time without silence.
Then we talked about shadowing the emotion, listening to the music of the sentence, not just the grammar, so we can predict the answer.
Then we practiced the no-think drills, answering in fragments. Totally. No idea. Starving.
And finally, we talked about anchor phrases. To be honest, the way I see it, prefab walls to help us build sentences faster.
And the mindset shift, connection over perfection.
It really is a rewiring. I feel like my brain is buzzing just thinking about it.
That buzzing is good. That means the new pathways are forming. But Dan, listening to this podcast is not enough.
It never is. You have to do the work.
You have to prove to your brain that it is safe to speak without translating. And the only way to do that is to put yourself in a little bit of danger.
Controlled danger, like the drills.
Exactly. So I have a challenge for everyone listening. We call this the narrator challenge.
Ooh, tell us about the narrator challenge.
For the next 24 hours, I want you to narrate your life. But here is the rule. You cannot translate. You have to look at an object and name it in English instantly.
So if I see a coffee cup, I just say coffee.
Immediately. Do not let your brain say the word in your native language first. You look at the door, you say door. You look at the sky, you say blue.
You are bypassing the middleman. Direct connection from eye to mouth.
Exactly. Do this for 5 minutes a day. Walk around your room. Bed, lamp, messy, book.
Messy. Speak for yourself, Alice. My room is spotless.
Sure it is, Dan. But seriously, this exercise trains your brain to trust the direct link. It weakens the old pathway of translation and strengthens the new pathway of reaction.
It sounds simple, but I bet it's harder than it looks.
It is. You will catch yourself whispering the native word first. Catch yourself and stop. Reset. Try again.
And once you get good at nouns, can you do verbs?
Yes. Walking, eating, sitting. Narrate your actions. It gets you into the flow of thinking in English.
I'm going to try this on my commute home today. People on the train might think I'm crazy, muttering train, ticket, man, and hot. But hey, it's for science.
It's for fluency. And honestly, most people are on their phones. They won't even notice.
True.
And speaking of noticing, we want to know what triggers your translation lack.
Yeah, we all have that one specific thing that makes us freeze.
So here's our question for you today. What is the one specific word or phrase that always makes your brain freeze? Is it when someone asks, "How are you?" Is it ordering food? Is it talking about your job?
For me, it used to be phone numbers. Whenever someone said numbers fast, my brain just shut down.
Numbers are a common one. So tell us in the comments below, what is your freeze trigger? Writing it down is the first step to conquering it.
And maybe we can do a future episode specifically on the most common triggers you guys share.
That is a great idea. We read every comment, so let us know.
And remember, if you found this helpful, share it with a friend who is also learning. Maybe you can practice the no-think drills together. It's way more fun with a partner.
Definitely. You can quiz each other. Hungry? Starving? Ready? Totally.
It becomes a game.
It does. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, your brain is plastic. You can rewire it. You just have to stop the
middleman and start trusting your instincts. You know more than you think you do. You just need to get out of your own way.
Well said, Dan. Until next time, keep chatting, keep making mistakes, and stop translating.
See you guys in the next one. Bye.